I don't know if anyone's told you, but it's really hot. Like, really hot. Hello, everyone. This is a slightly melting Adam D. I'm not going to call it the comms box. I'm going to call it the comms sauna tonight for a bit of chat about the GT4s. We're going to watch a bunch of GT4s, throw it around the track and try and survive. And we're going to do the same, try and survive. Although, if you want to feel sick, then let's ask Hydra. What temperature is it where you are?
We're sitting at about a really roasting 16 degrees centigrade at the moment. It's warm in here. I got the fan going, got the yeah, it's just peachy at the moment.
You finished?
I'm looking at the track temperatures of the Zandvoort at the moment, and I feel like maybe you're somewhere in between the 29 and 37.
Yes, current shed temperature is 33.5 and climbing. Yeah, never mind. This is what we do for fun on a Tuesday evening. Is we go and sit ourselves in a wooden structure that's had a black roof on it all day in record temperatures, and we sit and talk to people about some pretend cars going around a track. How's about that for an evening?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of these things where it's like, sim racing can only approximate to some degree what it's like to get in a race car, and I feel like today is one of those days where it's like the approximation is closer to reality than in other days.
Yeah, do you know, it's such a good point, because you hear about the guys climbing into race cars in similar temperatures to this around the world, and with 2 layers of fireproof Nomex all over them and a helmet on top, and then they strap themselves into a car with no air conditioning, and it's like, what? So yeah, whatever we're feeling today, real life drivers feel it 10 times over. So yeah, although I would suggest I'm not the highly tuned athlete that some of the real life racing drivers are, but such is life. Anyway, how is your life? You good?
Oh yeah, all's good. I was just thinking maybe some fireproof protection wouldn't go amiss if you're in an entirely wooden structure at the moment.
Yeah, and also I retain the stock in here as well for one of my businesses, Rail Stuff, and that includes a number of aerosol cans that have been in this heat all day, and I'm just sort of waiting for one of those to go pop in the corner of the room. So if I suddenly explode, then an aerosol can has gone pop.
Did you say Rail Stuff?
Rail Stuff, yes. Model Railway, Scenics and Accessories at rail-stuff.com. There you go. Plug done.
Very, very nice. Very nice. I sense I sense some nice overall branding of your enterprises. Very, very, very big fan of that.
There's there is a bit of a theme running, isn't there? Stuff, yes. Anyway, talking of stuff, we've got some stuff going on the track tonight, and that is racing stuff. GT4s are back again, and tonight it is at Zandvoort. Thoughts on Zandvoort as these guys start their qualifying?
Great track, so technical. I feel like of all the tracks to have like blistering heat poured upon you, there is just like no rest except like the very last corner for like, you get like what, 10 seconds of a straight, and then it's just concentration the whole way through. I love it. Punishing, satisfying, all in equal measure. I think we're going to see some absolutely ridiculous lines been taken by some of these GT4s, and I am in no doubt that we're going to see the heat playing a factor in some of the decision making that's going to transpire. I think we're going to see some perhaps questionable moves, some perhaps hopeful attacks, some wishful defending, and everything in between.
And actually, yes, if last night was anything to go by, I don't know if you caught any of the stream of the first round of the British GT Championship, the Jimmy Broadbent powered by oNiD British GT Championship. I think the heat got to some drivers last night.
Oh, Adam, I am entirely referring to that race.
Well, let's hope that these guys are very well behaved tonight and are also well hydrated as well, because we make a joke about how hot it is, but seriously, for drivers that are listening, please make sure you are well hydrated tonight, and if at any point it gets too much tonight, then take a break. A bit of sim racing is not worth you folding over in the corner somewhere, so make sure you look after yourselves as some lap times start to get in. And we're on a full sweat night tonight, not just temperature wise, but driver lineup wise. I mean, look at that. We've got Johnny Seville in tonight, we've got Will Dendy, we've got Miles Dixon, we've got Matheson, we've got both Chirons here. So we've got all of the sweats here tonight, ready for some fun times. So who are we going to see on pole tonight, do you reckon?
Oh man, I don't know. Those Alpines are after showing up in numbers tonight. The Porsches, as I speak, are after like pipping the top spot. Man, and we've 9 minutes of qualifying left to go. I think Seville is going to wrestle pole back from Will Dendy. That would be my prediction.
Okay, well I'm going to agree. I was going to try and go a different way, but yeah, the Alpines have looked super quick and consistent just lately. We know how quick Seville is as well, but if anyone can do it, it's probably this man here, Will Dendy, that we are watching. For those of you who don't know, Will is a real life racing driver as well. Races GT4s in a McLaren, and I think I might be going to see him in about 10 days time at Silverstone with old Jean-Noir Ashlar. So talking of which, old Jean-Noir, he's up in the top 10. What's going on there?
Yeah, clearly the other drivers must be, sandbagging away. Maybe the heat's getting to them. I think, temperature is just a number to some of these lads who are putting in the insane times at the moment, because it just does not seem to be phasing them. Although I suppose we do have a situation where maybe half of the grid are, based in the UK, and I think maybe the other half are kind of based further afield. Johnny Ashley, I mean, to be less than 2 seconds off that time is certainly a fantastic start to his qualifying. I wonder if he has more in the old reserves that he can pull out in the next 8 minutes or so.
Well, he's currently 3/10 up on this lap, which could move him as far as 8th, ahead of Stevie DT Bain, who did successfully get himself some drive-throughs in the rookies last week, and I think Paul Ricard the other night as well as Sunday night. So see what he does this time around. But Johnny just a couple of tenths up in the end, so doesn't actually move up any positions. That's a shame. Just 8 thousandths off of BP. BP currently sat in pole for the AM class, which is a pretty strong performance. 7 minutes of qualifying left. It's Dendy, Seville, Chiron, Dixon, Matheson, Chiron, Hearn, Bain, BP and Ashley.
Yeah, it's great to see Bain up in 8th in quali. The Ginetta struggles, we'll say, in a straight line, but luckily for Zandvoort, I feel like that wouldn't impact too much. I mean, I suppose we do have this kind of bobbing, weaving up along over the hills, but beyond that, there isn't way too many long stretches to really get the power down. So maybe the performance is a bit equalized on the Ginetta side. That McLaren is looking fairly nice around here though as well.
Yeah, I mean the McLaren both in GT3 and GT4 is just looking nice everywhere at the moment. But yeah, you make a good point about the Ginetta. I think you're absolutely right. This may be a track that really suits the Ginetta. It's not quite so power dependent, and I think that might be a good thing for the likes of Stephen Bain and of course Willie Black in his Lucky Charms liveried Ginetta.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those cars that, might be a bit easier to wrangle around some of these bends, as we see Pete Jelinek really wrangling that McLaren around. Hasn't given himself too much space to go out onto a quali lap. Looks like that car ahead of him has kind of given him the position by, so at least maybe he'll have some clear track.
Yeah, Petter was 1.5 up on his best time. Ended up just taking 4/10 off his best time, so he lost quite a bit in that final sector. Let's switch back to Will Dendy though, because the man is currently a 10th up on his best and flashing purple to improve his time once again. So we could see him nudge into the 43s with this lap if he hooks up this final sector. Coming down through the chicane pin now, as we lovingly call it. Because it's a chicane that blends into a hairpin, and let's see what he can do through the final couple of corners. Will he go flat through the final corner, Hydra? What do you reckon?
I would have to assume yes. I can't see his inputs from here, so I'm just going to say it was actually 110%.
There was definitely a big lift through there, but never mind. Here comes Will across the line then. So he does improve, and he goes 43.932. So he does squeeze into those 43s and puts himself quarter of a second up on the Alpine of Seville now, who is back out on track. There he is in the Pulse Sim Sport Alpine. Quick check-in on chat. Sorry I missed you chatting earlier, Bo. I think Bo's disappeared now, but hello anyway, in case you watch us back. Hiker, good evening. Yes, it is pretty warm in here as well. DRS Sim Racing, right at the very beginning, said, WTF am I doing racing tonight? Yeah, WTF am I doing commentating tonight? Hiker's there as well. Petty Jelinek with a hello. Marino87 as well. Miles Dixon with a hello. Oh, and Ben22 Racing as well, who did the sensible thing and just said, no, I can't do it tonight. I just can't.
I was just going to say, I only see a few Mercs dotted around there. Looks like our own Johnny Ashley repping the brand up in the top 10 at the moment. Still with that time.
Yeah, so Seville has just improved ever so slightly. Got himself back within 2/10 of the front. Let's go on board with Nick Ewers for Old Sausage Dodgers Racing. Nice team name, liking it. And he was 8/10 of a second up, but just lost a bit of it running wide there. Then just missed the apex there as well, so he's lost all of that time. So I might have sniped his lap time well and truly. Nice bit of wall action, whoever that is up ahead.
Yeah, they quietly tried to duck away from the pits as if to hide in shame, but we caught them on camera, so unlucky for them.
I think it might have been Will Dendy, you know.
It's par for the course then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so let's flick back to Richard Mazan, who is 2/10 up now in his Alpine. Hiker's saying it's currently still 29 degrees in his room. Try 33.8 in here now. It is still climbing, Hydra. Why is that temperature still climbing?
Man, I think it's the great thing about you know, the UK and Irish kind of like housing systems, and that, like, you know, they built these houses to keep the heat in, but they never anticipated that there would be heat coming in that they would then want to get out again. So
yeah,
so that you're in a kind of like a slow cooker at the moment there. So
yeah, and this isn't even a house; it's just a shed. So the old black roof on the ceiling is
concrete wooden shed.
Mr. Beef is here as well.
Yeah, just saw him pop up. He's been racing. He's at a race, hasn't he? Was it the evaluation night on Sunday?
Was he racing with us? I
Partake?
didn't notice, actually. That was very rude of me, isn't it? I just didn't notice.
It wasn't streamed, which I was very upset about. But I'll forgive you.
we don't stream evaluations because we're lazy, essentially. Often it's because the person who does the streaming has actually jumped into the evaluation as well, just to have a bit of fun. No, he did the Indie Social, which was Saturday night, which I missed that.
Was that also not streamed?
No, we don't
I
stream
think it
socials.
was. Yeah, socials, of course. Yeah, this is the part where I need to just get a PC so I can partake in the socials. And
You
maybe
do,
get
and
it amongst
considering
them.
you are somebody who works on a PC all day, every day, I would have thought that you would have had a PC and got it all sorted and, you know, be in with the cool crowd, but apparently not.
I work on a Mac, and I'll tell you
Ah,
when I started this job about 3 or 4 years ago doing software QA, for anyone who doesn't know, why would you know? You don't know me. I opened it up, and they're like, "Oh, we need you to install these programs which you'll use in your day-to-day life here." And I was like, "Grand." Immediately had to Google how to install applications on a Mac. Just couldn't function. It was like, yeah, it's like hopping in a car and then realizing actually the driver's seat is like on the back left of the car, and like all the pedals are actually on the ceiling. I just couldn't function. It was a learning curve for sure. But yeah, no, I'll get a PC someday. I keep threatening it, and one day you'll you'll have to face the reckoning that is my racecraft on track.
now I have faced that reckoning once before, if you remember rightly, in the old Circuit Superstars night.
Yeah, we used to get that going again.
Yeah, you and I did come to blows on a couple of occasions that night.
That game is so interesting. Like I'm on their Discord, and they have lads on those things that have like there's been, excuse me, there've been like some league races popping up and that, and like the quality is like insane. I thought I was good. No, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, there are some people that that manage to sweat the small stuff, I suppose. But yeah, that game is incredibly fun. You know what I mean? I think I
do indeed.
Right, so qualifying just about coming towards an end, and the order as it stands, I don't think there's anyone still on a lap. Oh, Willie Black's actually 4 tenths up, 6 tenths up, 7 tenths up. Any more? Any more for any more? As he comes around the final corner, 6 tenths. No, he's back to 6 tenths. But this could leap him up to 13th, I reckon. 13th. He goes 13th. There you go.
Oh, my goodness.
And only just as well. Ooh, so that's your qualifying done. It's Dendy, Seville, Sharon, Matheson, Dixon, Sharon, Bain, Hearn, Ben P, Johnny Ashley is your top 10. After that, it's then Jelinek, Holmes, Black, Reuters, Sherlock, Gudici, Mazan, Fairweather, Ewers, Lizevsky, Savchuk, Van der Veen, Davies, Jackson, Wagner, Law, and Richards. So we've got a pretty big grid of 27 tonight. I didn't expect that many to be with us tonight, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna throw it out there, like, fair play to everyone choosing to spend their sauna evening racing with us this evening, putting on a spectacle, no doubt, but also just enjoying some fantastic racing. That's when you know, Adam, that you've got a good series going, when drivers are willing to partake despite the circumstances they find themselves in.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Do you know what? I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to do the thing, I'm gonna have to annoy the neighbours and let them listen to my commentating all night. I'm gonna have to open the window. There's no two ways about it. It's just about to tip 34 in here, so the window is going to be open. So Hydra, you can talk for a moment.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Adam bestowing the mic privileges on me for a bit. So we got a 25-minute race ahead of us, and we are looking at more cloudy temperatures and skylines at the moment compared to qualifying. So drivers will have to adjust maybe some tire temps and pressures a little bit. But otherwise, I think we're kind of set now. We're just waiting for the 40 seconds before we'll have the formation lap. We have Porsches on every row of the grid for the first top 4 or 5 rows at least. So keep an eye out for them. But the Alpines of Seville and Dixon are no doubt going to be wrestling amongst them. I'll be curious to see if Steve Bain can make some positions on track. It's going to be an interesting one to defend on. I suppose both attack and defend on, because you've got, the GT4s are like, chunky little boys. So they are going to be able to kind of run side by side through some of these corners more than you would see in the GT3s. But similarly, some of these boys are just prone to some amazing racecraft. We've seen Will Dendy in the last few races, defending very robustly. We've had some kind of comings together with some of the Porsches and other ones, so I think we're in for a doozy of a race this evening.
We are indeed. Not that you need me back. I mean, Hydronox, everybody. There we go. We are about to go racing again. And opening the window hasn't dropped the temperature by 20 degrees immediately, like I hoped it would. But never mind. Very quickly, who's going to win this one? Race 1?
oNiD, just fantastic racing from all our drivers. I think we're the only ones who will benefit. I don't know how anyone's going to win this race and not be a soppy, sweaty mess by the end of it.
Absolutely. Well, here we go. We are off and running. Will Dendy makes a great start. One of the Chirons getting very, very close to Craig Matheson on the run into turn 1, which gives a chance for Miles Dixon to then do the old switchback and get into third. So we're looking at Dendy, then Seville, then Dixon is your top 3 as they come through that first sector. We then got a pair of Chirons, and Matheson has got squeezed back a couple of places. I think we're relatively clean through the field as we just flick back towards what is now the very banked corner on the version of this circuit right now. But as it is in game, here's Will Dendy coming into that middle sector then. Really clean start, Hydra, and he's got away at the front a little.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dixon making up 2 spots in the first corner, just taking the most of the 2 cars ahead of him, battling away, and just really stuck in there right on the inside, and pulled off a very, very tasty maneuver right off the bat. So he'll be looking to hold on to that for as long as he can, at least, while the rest of them battle away behind him.
Absolutely. We see Craig Matheson trying to make back up a position. One of the Chirons getting sideways there, and actually Matheson gets past both Chirons in one fell swoop. One gets sideways, the other one has to get out of the way, and as a result the Chirons both go back a place. Steve Bain tried to take advantage of that, but nothing doing from his point of view. Johnny Ashley makes a nice strong start, stays in 10th, but is right on the back of that front pack.
Yeah, and it was interesting, the 2 Chiron brothers, they both followed almost like the exact same line coming out of the that kind of complex there in the middle of the track, or middle sector, and they both kind of ran slightly wide, but which allowed Matheson to kind of make that move, as they both kind of, like, one got like a bit more of a severe snap of oversteer than the other had to correct. But yeah, lots of opportune movements happening on the grid already. Dare I say, we're only a few minutes and change into this.
We've just seen Petr Jelinek off track in turn 1. I think it was a case of about 8 into 1 don't go. Jelinek coming off worse from that. At the moment though, Dendy leads, but only by a few tenths from Johnny Seville. So Johnny going with him at the front. And Miles Dixon not too far back as well, so this could quite quickly turn into a 3-way battle for the lead. Let's switch back to Matheson, who is still defending heavily from Yotam Chiron in the green accented Porsche there. The red accented one directly behind is Yuval Chiron. This is shaping up to be a great race already, as we see Yotam very, very sideways, Hydra.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that this part of the track especially just...
sorry to cut in, but somehow Miles Dixon has gone from 3rd all the way through to the lead, and now we see a further change as Dendy gets shuffled back into 3rd. So let's go pick up a replay, see if we can figure out what happened there. They went 3 wide there, so I think Dendy might have been defending from Seville, and then Dixon did the old switcheroo and cut back underneath the pair of them. But dramatic stuff at the front of the order. We'll switch back to the live stuff as soon as we can so that we can show you the current order, but some opportunistic driving from Miles there.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like when we came back onto that replay, it looked like there was like some mid maneuver. I wasn't sure if Will Dendy was defending or if he had broke too much or whatever. But like in defending one car, you can't defend from both at the same time. The GT4s are big, but they're not that big. But yeah, no, fantastic stuff already. Those Alpines were looking fairly nifty already.
Well, we've gone to another replay because Johnny Seville has tumbled down the order, so I fear there might be an incident with Dendy into turn one. There is a huge incident between the second and third place cars, so Dendy and Seville collide on their way into turn one. It seemed like they were trying to fight over a piece of track that Miles Dixon was already in, and Seville was trying to avoid his teammate, and then it just all went wrong. But you now have Miles Dixon in the lead from Craig Matheson. Matheson up into second. Dendy shuffled back to third. But here comes Yotam Sharon as well round the outside of Will Dendy. So all the action kicking off right at the very beginning of this race. We're only 5 minutes in. But here we go then. Will Dendy holding on to third from Yotam Sharon. But the two Sharons now trying to find their way past Dendy. Dendy getting shuffled back then, Hydra.
Yeah, I was predicting, not chaos as such, but I was predicting some good racing. I was not anticipating this level of energy and just like ferocity with the at which the moves are happening. We're only 5 minutes into this race and we've seen the leaders shuffling around, and there's now only one Alpine out there up in the contention for the top spots. Although having said that, Seville is only down in 8th, considering I would have figured with damage like that he would have tumbled way further down.
Or a battle between the brothers, as Yotam and Yuval switch positions. So Yuval up to 4th now, Yotam shuffled down to 5th. Will Dendy has just settled a little bit and now holds on to 3rd, but watch Steve Bain now trying to have a go at the Sharon brothers as well. There's action everywhere, so we are going to miss some action tonight, that's for sure, because we can't watch all of it at the same time, but we will try and keep up with it as best as we can. So the Jackie Bum Winnets team of Daniel Hearn, don't ask me, is trying to hold on from Johnny Seville, who's now trying to recover, but I wonder how much damage he is suffering from.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, you know, with these GT4s not being so air dependent, maybe the damage that he has just isn't affecting him as much. So perhaps he's able to wrestle that car around and kind of put in some decent lap times. I was just going to say, it's like, it's a sign of the quality of the racing that, like, I would hesitate to hit that replay button anymore, because I feel like you're bound to miss something. Ooh, as we have Matheson making a fantastic like, he's just like making that Alpine, or sorry, the Porsche, just massive in those windows of the Alpine.
Oh, and he's having a look now. He's having a look now. And was there contact there? I don't think there was, but look who's all of a sudden coming back to join this front party. It's Will Dendy, and he is right with Craig Matheson now. So Will Dendy, having lost positions early on after an incident with Johnny Seville and another instance as well that we kind of caught but not quite, is now trying to get back past Craig Matheson, who I have to say is driving a fantastic race. Great to see Craig up in second at the moment and fighting amongst the leaders. So it's Dixon. As Matheson runs a bit deep and Dendy goes to the outside now. Let's go on the old helicam, and he'll try the old switcheroo on the exit, but it's pretty much single file through this next section. But great racing up and down the field.
Yeah, it is absolutely mind-boggling how these drivers are able to give us such a spectacle at the moment. I also want to shout out Mad Mike Plays in the chat for a gifted sub. Thank you very much.
Oh, beautiful. Good man.
And yeah, so it's like good things happening everywhere today. Matheson is pulling like easily the performance of the race so far for me. He's just been, it's like a case of like the right place at the right time, but also knowing how to execute those kind of, like, you know, there's a way to safely take those chances as they come to you. So he's been fairly smart about that so far, and I'd say there's a chance for the lead for him, as we have Dixon not struggling, but kind of feeling the pressure, better said.
It feels like that Porsche is really super through certain parts of the lap. The Alpine a lot stronger through others. So this one just yo-yoing around a little bit. Dendy keeping a watching brief in third. but certainly has the pace to be ahead of both of these. Dendy was on pole, but he's now starting to have a real look at Matheson. Goes for a move up the inside, right off the racing line into the pit lane exit, but gets the move done. That's beautifully done from Will Dendy. Up into second place then, and now he will look to chase after Miles Dixon.
Yeah, Matheson gave him, like, he thought maybe he had that inside line closed off, but like Will Dendy was going to take any bit of space available to him, and yeah, the pit lane just kind of finished up just as he needed it to, and was able to commit even more to that inside line, and a very tidy execution.
Indeed. My right leg is cooking. My right leg is next to the vent from my PC fan. And it's getting warm in there, so if at any point something dies, then it's probably my PC just going, no, enough's enough. But we'll try and stick with it for as long as we can, as Craig Matheson looking for a way past Will Dendy. Dendy getting a lot closer to Miles Dixon at the front as well. This is going to be a battle right to the end. We've still got 15 minutes of this race left, but anything could happen between these top three, and the two Chirons are sat there just waiting and seeing what happens ahead of them. Miles Dixon runs deep. Will Dendy now a lot closer to Miles Dixon. Matheson right with him. This is turning into a solid three-way, but before long this is going to be 5, 6, 7-way for the lead if we're not careful.
Yeah, and there's some, like, if there wasn't contact, I would be absolutely gobsmacked, but it looks like coming out of that hairpin there was maybe some kind of rubbing, just as Dixon was kind of getting back up to speed. Well, Dendy with a fantastic run though going into turn one, but Dixon was wise.
Oh, Dixon's run deep though, so Dendy gets the old switch back. There's a little bit of bumping between them, as there was when Dixon took the lead from Dendy, but Will Dendy up the inside, there's more contact, and now here comes Yotam Chiron, no, that's Yuval Chiron, who had got past Matheson into turn one, so Chiron now up into second. Dixon gets shuffled back into third. This is an absolutely staggering race that we are watching. Craig Matheson now looking for a way past Miles Dixon to try and put Dixon down to fourth, so Dixon could go from the lead to fourth in a matter of 3 corners, but Matheson can't quite get that one done. This is a fantastic race. Dendy from Chiron, then Dixon, Matheson, Chiron and Bain just there in the background, as you see one of the Chiron brothers just trying to get the old switchback on those two cars in front. But Hydra, surely this cannot last for another 13 minutes at this kind of ferocity.
We managed to get the first half of the race through with this level of intensity. I don't see how we can keep going, but these drivers are just pulling at all the stops, especially in this complex here where you just have any number of different lines that you could take to get a switch back or to like dive down the inside.
It's contact! Ooh, it's contact, and Matheson's through. So there was a small amount of contact and Dixon flashing the lights, obviously not happy with that, but Matheson through up into third, and now you see Yotam Chiron trying to get past Miles Dixon as well, but Dixon just hangs him out there, and Yotam will have to go again down in towards turn one. But out front it is now Will Dendy from Yuval Chiron. Then it's Craig Matheson third, Miles Dixon fourth, just ahead of Yotam Chiron. But these two looking at each other down into turn one. Dixon does run deep, and the second Chiron gets past. So Dixon down to fifth now. And look, Stephen Bain's thinking, hang on a minute, I fancy a bit of this action.
Yeah, I mean, he's Bain's just kind of kept his nose in the fight there for the last 10-15 minutes. I'd say Dixon maybe feeling a little hard done by. It feels like a lot of the positions he's conceded have been maybe from a little bit of a bump here and there, but he has to keep his composure just for the last 10-15 minutes or 10-12 minutes, just so that he doesn't lose any more positions and just hold on to what he has, as we have Bain getting very close, really threatening with that Ginetta. It's amazing. And like I said, like, you know, you get to this section of the track where, depending on the line you're taking, the attacking driver really has a few options that he can just kind of unsettle the car ahead, you know, maybe either chuck it down the inside or hang it around the outside and then get a switch back. It's really curious to see, as we have a train of cars already just waiting in the wings just for any any mistakes.
Yes, and there's somebody new in chat as well, and he's not leaving on a jet plane. In fact, he's arriving. ETR jet plane arrives for a bit of chat once again this week, and cheering on Richards once again. We'll try and check in on Richards a little bit later on for you, but you'll appreciate that things are kicking off left, right and centre at the front as we see Miles Dixon now getting a bit of a run towards Yotam Sharon, but I think those Porsches have just got the run down the straight as we look at Johnny Seville now going round the outside of Daniel Hearn into T1. Runs a bit deep, will now try and carry that speed through this first section. Johnny Seville, who was in the lead momentarily, has he gone off? So that is Johnny Seville in the wall for the second time tonight, and that looks a little bit more terminal as we see a couple of drivers now getting past him. Will Dendy continues on in the lead, but Johnny Seville, I was just about to say, was recovering pretty well, fastest lap of the race, but oops.
Yeah, massively unfortunate there. You can just see it was fantastic driving by Daniel Hearn to hold that inside line under pressure, especially when a car comes flying around you like that. And then obviously Seville driving the car to the absolute limits, just looking to try and get any positions that he can. Unfortunately, just kind of rolled the dice and went bust, so to speak. And yeah, ended up just hitting off that outside barrier at a section of the track that'll be probably tricky to have turned around at, but it looks like he's dropped down to 13th, is it? Yes,
he's got going. In fact, he's in shot there because we've just picked up a battle here between Willie Black and Luke Sherlock. One half of our Sherlock and Holmes duo in this race. There was a suggestion that there was going to be a Watson join this race tonight, which would have just been incredible. But I don't think it happened in the end. But yes, we've still got Sherlock and we've got Holmes. But right now, things just calming down a little bit at the front. This is your biggest battle at the moment, is Black and Sherlock. And watch out for Johnny Seville in the background, coming up behind them. We'll certainly want to try and recover some positions at least from the issues that he's had in tonight's race.
As we have a move around the outside, going into turn one, that's
deep.
Unfortunate.
It looks very deep, and I think Seville might take advantage of that. So Willie Black held position nicely. That is a very damaged Alpine trying to get past the grey and pink Porsche there. Gets it done. So we now have a battle between Sherlock and Holmes. It's the one that we have been waiting for. Oh no, he's got himself back on the back of Seville. But Sherlock and Holmes next to each other on track.
Yep, take the screenshots now. We don't know when it'll happen again. That Audi flying through. Oh, as we have, is that Richards there? The Merc.
We've had a problem further up the field. Let's see what happened. Stephen Bain and Miles Dixon. So this is coming through the middle section of the lap. So this was a battle for, I think, 5th, if I remember rightly. So Dixon in 5th. Bain trying to find a way through. Goes to the inside. Oh, that's a difficult one to call that. So we'll let the stewards be the ones to make the call on that. But Bain and Dixon both round, and they both carry on, but they have lost places.
Yeah, that's massively unfortunate for those two. I mean, it's one of those ones where it's like it doesn't look malicious from either side, which is a positive to take. I think, especially on that first viewing, didn't look like there was any one driver more at fault than the other, but sure, we'll let the wonderful esteemed panel of judges adjudicate that one at a later time. Indeed. Meanwhile, we have some more battles. Adam, you promised me they were going to take it easy and stop, but instead they've just kept going.
Yeah, we've now got Johnny Ashley versus Petr Jelinek, and that's always difficult. I'm also trying to not move my head because I now have my ice pack balanced on my head. So if I move it too much, then the ice pack could fall off and land in my plums, which could be quite painful. So yeah, I'm trying not to do that.
Well, in fairness, if you're going to drop anything onto your plums, an ice pack is probably one of the things that you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, true. It's better than an anvil. You're absolutely right. Or burning hot coals. Anyway, less about my plums, the better. So Johnny's got away from Yellowneck through that part of the lap, at least. So Bain and Dixon are closing up together on track. So I wonder whether Dixon will be fairly forthcoming in his move to try and get past Stephen Bain. Interesting thing is, Miles Dixon only a few laps ago was leading this race. He is now 7th. And like you said, it kind of feels like a lot of the moves have been 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But if you were Miles Dixon, you'd be feeling a bit aggrieved right now, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, especially when you can flip a coin 6 times, and there's a chance it can be 6 heads or 6 tails, and it feels like out of all the coin tosses with the contacts that were happening with Miles, it looks like he was the one that kind of came out worse for wear. So I think that'll be a tough one to swallow, but at least we have a second race this evening, so there's still plenty to play for. And then again, he's only dropped down to 7th, and he's still absolutely still in it to get a few more spots.
Absolutely.
We somehow have 5 minutes still left in this race. It feels like it's now, look at the state of that car.
it doesn't look good, does it? But it's still faster than Willie Black, so make of that what you will. But Willie Black trying to hold Johnny Seville behind him. So Seville trying to recover. Will Dendy has now stolen the fastest lap off of Johnny Seville as well. So it is Dendy, Sharon, Matheson, Sharon, Hearn, Bain, Dixon, BP, Ashley and Yellowneck. I tell you what, Johnny won't be disappointed with a top 10 if he finishes there.
Absolutely, I think he's kept it. Oh, as we have...
So Willie Black forgot the Willie Black school of defending and just went very wide. But also, knowing Willie Black, it may well be that he thought, this isn't really my fight tonight, so let Seville go. They are in different classes, of course. For those of you that are new to us, then the drivers with the red number box, they are our AM drivers. And as we see, that was Sherlock in the background. There's no mystery about that one. He is off. So the ones with the white numbers, they are, and Dixon has got back past Bain, by the way, but the ones with the white numbers, I will get there eventually, are the pro drivers. So they're in 2 different championship classes tonight, but mixing it between each other.
Yeah, and it definitely adds a layer of kind of, not complexity as such, but just a little bit of nuance in terms of, it gives the drivers a little bit of leeway in terms of, as you see all Willie Black there, it's utilizing the fact that he doesn't need to race Seville at all. He can just let him through and not be any worse off for it. But at the same time, maybe he can, having that car behind him means that there's one more car for the cars. I suppose Fairweather and Reuters are quite a bit back, but it gives another layer of strategy, I suppose, for these races, which is great to see.
Indeed it does. We're riding on board with Petr Jelinek, who is giving Johnny's ass a hard time, so to speak, and is chasing him down, desperate to get that 9th place off of him. But every time I see Petr get closer to Johnny then pulls it back out a little bit. So he's driving very nicely in that AMG tonight.
Yeah, Jelinek can't get a whiff of that Ashley, it seems.
Ashley. Oh, Johnny runs very deep.
Oh, he's listening to us,
surely. Yeah, he probably is. So Johnny, just keep it calm and straight and pointy. Well, not straight through the corners, because that doesn't work. Anyway, who wants to take driving advice from Adam D, eh?
I do.
Do you? You're a
straight
fool.
Through the corners and then turn through the straights. Gotcha.
That's it. So Jelinek right on the back of Ashley now as they head down towards turn 1. You hit that brake hard at that line across the track. The AMG works pretty well round here. Obviously not as well as the Porsches, because look at your timing tower on the left. It is a Porsche 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ha ha ha.
That is manufacturer dominance. It is. Jelinek now having a really good look at Johnny, though. Let's go on Johnny's rear wing, where it neatly says Johnny Crash. Crash by name, crash by nature. And he is really trying his best to hold Jelinek off. Keeping a nice tidy line through that right-hand sweeping corner. Let's switch back to Seville and Richards, because Richards right on the back of Johnny Seville. Oh, I've sniped. I have sniped. He managed to save it, though. What a job that was, sir.
Yeah, that was fantastic, and we see again. It looks like Willie Black leaving Richards through, perhaps as a bit of just tactics. I mean, we've only got 30 seconds left in this race, so that'll probably give us another lap.
Yes.
Maybe another one, depending on where Will Dendy is.
He's right at the end of the lap, so yes, we will go through for one more lap. I don't understand how this is happening. I've opened the window and the temperature is still rising. It's 34.4 in here now.
Well, now the sun just has one less thing to block it, you see, so...
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Although the sun has gone behind the house now, but, you know, it's sort of one of those where you feel like it's not actually the sun that's the hot thing at the moment, it's just the air. The air.
I was going to say,
so
maybe it's a you problem. Maybe you're the source of the heat. Yeah, hot thing, yeah.
Okay, I need an adult. Meanwhile, Ashley and Jelinek battle rumbles on. Johnny is holding that position. Johnny, you've got one more lap to hold on to it. I have noticed that one side of Johnny's car is customary scratched. Actually, it looks like the side of my missus' car after I had an argument with a lamppost yesterday, but the less said about that, the better. Yeah, whoops. But the other side looks nice and tidy, Johnny. As Jelinek looks for a way around the outside, you're not going to do that there, sir.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny has studied Willie Black's School of Defending, and he's taken a few semesters there, and he has learned a thing or two. And like Zandvoort is as good for attacking as it is for defending, it almost seems like.
Indeed.
So we have Will Dendy.
Yeah, Will Dendy just coming to the final corner now. So this is the end of the race. Race 1, that is, because we've got another one to go. And I tell you what, there's going to be some scores to settle after this one. But Will Dendy across the line takes the win. Yuval Sharon second. Craig Matheson with an excellent third. A hard-fought third. Yota Amsharon in a very creditable fourth. Daniel Hearn looks pretty chuffed with his fifth. Then we get first place of the non-Porsches is Miles Dixon, who's had an eventful race, it's fair to say. Steve Bain comes across the line in seventh. Then it's Ben P. Johnny Ashley makes it home ahead of Petr Jelinek. Thanks for the flash, Johnny. Johnny Seville in a disappointing 11th for him. What could have been, well, it could be in race 2. Willie Black takes second in AM because Ben P took the win up there in 8th overall. Ben Holmes 14th. Daniel Gudici 15th. Then Reuters 16th. Lizeski 17th. Fairweather 18th. Mazan 19th. Sherlock 20th. Davies 21st. Ewers 22nd. Van der Veen 23rd. Max Savchuk will be next across the line in 24th. Then it's Tony Law in 25th. Moritz Wagner in 26th. And then Graham Jackson, good old dog juice himself, rounding it out in 27th.
And I'm just seeing there in the 21st and 22nd between Davies and Ewers, it looks like there was very little between those two, so I'm curious if Davies held on or if it was actually a position gained right at the end there for Davies coming through that last corner. I mean, what a fantastic race. For me, I would think the driver of the day for race 1 would definitely be Matheson for me. I think just kept his nose clean and was able to just strike while the iron was hot, make hay while the sun was shining, and
not
bring it
else
home.
Hot. No
Yeah.
more heat.
All these heat analogies, yeah.
I tell you what, though, that was one hell of a race we just saw. But like I said a moment ago, I don't know about you, but it does feel a little bit like there might be some scores to settle in race 2.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to see the Alpines, you know, because like you look at the leaderboards from the race and you see Porsches from 1 to 5, and you'd be thinking, it's just, you know, manufacturer dominance, as you say, but that doesn't quite paint the whole picture. There was, you know, I'm sure those Alpines will feel partially hard done by, and then perhaps feel like, you know, they should really be further up than where they ended up. I think we're in for somehow a more heated race 2 than we had for race 1, and I I don't know how we're going to manage another 25 minutes of this.
No, I'm with you on that one. I just feel that so much happened, especially in the first half of that race at the front between Dendy, Seville, Dixon, Matheson, the Chirons as well, Bain in that mix as well. There was so much action between them all, and there were so many little dings and contacts and blocks and dives and all kinds in the first part of that race that we really could see some people just throwing caution to the wind in race 2. Miles Dixon with a very sad emoticon in chat. Yes, Miles, really unfortunate, but great racing from you and from everyone around you. It was fantastic to watch, and there is race 2 where anything could happen. Just checking everyone else in the chat as well. So Non-Fat Jam, love the name, like I did last week. Gutted sorry, choking on myself. Gutted through a podium away. Petty Jelinek has joined the Johnny Hate Club, so he says, I hate you, Johnny. We've all been there, don't worry. Marino thanking Mad Mike Plays for the subscription, and Stevie B saying sweaty Janetti and getting nosebleeds. Yes, and Hiker's now decided he really hates the Aston GT4. At some point, Hiker's going to find a car he likes.
Is Non-Fat Jam, is that Sherlock? Just seeing the 119.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be it'd be one of the drivers that was up in the top 3 but then wasn't in the top 3.
Yeah, would that be the AM Porsche for Sherlock, no?
Oh, it could be, yes, of course, yes, AM podium, yes.
A bit of sleuthing myself there, Adam.
It's very good. I don't know why it needed a bit of Borat, but what doesn't, eh? Anyway, we are getting ready to go again. So this time, I'm going to make you say it. Who's going to win race 2?
I think we're going to see an Alpine, and I think it's going to be Johnny Seville.
I agree with you. I think Seville will make sure he gets it done this time around. Although, look at the Chiron around the outside towards turn 1. Seville into the back of Dendy, so it's happened straight away. Dendy hit in the rear, and then Dendy with the rejoin that then pushes 3 cars out wide, and one of the Chirons is pushed off, but we now have an Alpine 1-2. No, Dendy sideways into turn 3, and now into the back of Dixon. So there is all kinds of shenanigans going on here, but we've got a Pulse Sim Sport 1-3, we've got Dendy in 4th, we've got Craig Matheson though up to 2nd, and that was not the start we wanted to see.
Yeah, no, I think what we're seeing is a swift and violent vengeance being extracted upon. That is some, I would say, tense racing to get us right off the bat. I would say Matheson, keeping a cool head, moves up to 2nd. He's in a fantastic spot to get somehow a better position than he had in race 1. Will Dendy probably firing on all cylinders at the moment after getting some bumps, perhaps Dixon-esque bumps into the beginning of this race, as we have the Charon brother in there as well, making a move up the inside. Is he going to have it around? You'd think with Dendy having the inside line for the, was it the Shakir pin?
Shakir pin, yeah, so Dendy holds the inside line. Just uses the back of Dixon, I think, just to make sure he brakes on time. Yes, Yotam Chiron sticks right with him. Bain just wiping the nosebleed away, and that made him just run a little bit wide. But Craig Matheson has had a great start as we see Yotam Sharon up the inside of Dendy into the final corner. There is contact side by side. They both get away with it though. Look at Dixon getting away as a result of all of this, and now here comes Stephen Bain on Yotam Sharon. He will be looking for another place up into turn 1. So Bain to the inside and gets the move done up into 5th then. So it is Seville, Matheson, Dixon, Dendy, Sharon, Bain, Hearn, BP, Holmes, Reuters. We didn't catch what happened, but Johnny Ashley has had a yellow flag and has shuffled right to the back of the field. So after a good race 1, it's all the work to do now for Johnny.
Yeah, and it looks like Peter Jelinek as well, in a similar boat as well as Richard. So a few cars kind of tumbling back down the order, and I think if the theme of race 1 was just like intense racing the whole way through, I think what we're going to see in race 2 is just being able to keep a cool head. I think those drivers who manage to do that successfully will make massive gains. Like we have Steve Bain up in 5th, we have Matheson up in 2nd. Yeah, so it's definitely a case of, as we have BP getting a little bit of a contact there from Holmes. Yeah, so I think it's just going to be a case of, it's like, I mean, we're only 4 minutes in as we have another yellow flag coming out. Like my heart is racing and I'm only commentating. So I think some of these drivers are kind of in a, we'll say, an elevated state at the moment. So
yes.
I think, yeah. So I think what we're going to see is like the ones who are able to keep tabs on that are going to kind of come out on top.
Yeah, there are battles all over the field. Oh, Dixon and Dendy is getting tasty. And we know the kind of move that Dendy likes to pull down into turn 1, but he's going to have to go to the outside. Dixon moves across to try and block it, and there is yet more side-by-side contact from these two. That's probably the 4th or 5th time tonight that these two have had some side-by-side bumping, and they both get away with it. But Dixon holding on to 3rd with Dendy in 4th, and as oNiD Dave says in chat, rubbing his racing, which is good to see, but some of these moves are definitely questionable. I couldn't agree with you more. Going to be a busy one for the stewards this week, I think, as we join onto a train in the middle sector. It's Reuters ahead of Gadici, Davies, Mazan, Sherlock, and Fairweather just clinging on to the back of that pack, but a bunch of cars all together.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for the stewards as well, like, you know, they're just going to see, like, we'll say, like, isolated incidents that get reported in. I think what might get lost, which, like, kind of rightfully so, is the kind of context in which it just feels like these aren't isolated incidents. These are, like, you know, these are battles that are going on the entire race, which wouldn't necessarily influence, per se, the outcomes, but definitely it's just one of those, it just feels like a very tense race. Like I'm feeling worried for all the drivers involved, you know. Like you feel like at any point one of them can just like snap, and then who knows what could happen.
It feels like an extension of race 1 in terms of the storyline, doesn't it? You know, obviously all the positions got reset because it is a new race, but in terms of the story and how it all came together, it certainly feels like an extension of race 1, as we see Dixon defending, weaving ahead of Dendy. Dendy now goes for a real send up the inside, and there is further contact between these two, and Dendy is into the gravel. Let's try and catch that from a better angle. Let's look at it from above, if I can switch to the replay. And Hydra, you just talk us through what you see here, if I can pick up the right car. There we go.
Yeah, so I mean, it does look like Dendy gets a better run. You see Dixon taking a shallower line, so he doesn't have quite the top speed there, and then Dendy in the draft just gets a massive boost. You can see he just utilizes the end of that pit lane, but yeah, Dixon was very adamant in holding that inside line that he had. Bit tricky to pick up in terms of, like, you know, it didn't look like necessarily movement under braking, but with the line that Dendy kind of wedged in for himself, might have ended up maybe forcing the issue more so than was needed. But it'll be one for the stewards to kind of muse over and to like kind of assess, like, you know, with multiple replays and, you know, whatever's needed. So Yeah, I think it's like, I mean, this is the dark middle chapter of a trilogy of books, but we're not going to get a happy resolution book number
Oh
3 as we
no!
have more contact. Is that Dendy again?
It is. It's Dendy again. Let's just get a very quick replay of that one. So yeah, it was Bane and one of the Chirons, and then is that Hearn sweeping up the inside? Yeah, and a McLaren just popped out of nowhere in the background, which is, and this is interesting. That's BP not far behind them, so that's one of the AM drivers now starting to mix it with the likes of Dendy. But here we go then. This is live. This is Yotam Chiron making a move on Daniel Hearn into turn 1. Yotam Chiron gets back through. Dendy trying to follow up as well. A battle of the Porsches, but we've got Stephen Bain up in 4th place. What a performance from Bain. Don't forget, a driver who still races in our rookie series, who has developed so quickly and so fast, and is putting in some stellar performances in that Iron Brew Ginetta tonight.
Yeah, the only thing that could slow Bane down would be a drive-through. But even then, I don't think we're going to see. I don't think Zandvoort is a track that you're going to see too many of them. Watch now as like
Bane says, that, "Hold my beer."
yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a fantastic performance for Bane, and it is literally the benefit of keeping a cool head and a clean nose in this very hot, intense race. Wow, it's like an analogy for the day that we find ourselves in the UK at the moment.
Isn't it just? Oh, shut up, you with your 16 degrees. Yes, we are looking back from Daniel Hearn's rear wing at Will Dendy, who is desperate to find a way back past because he wants to hook back up with Miles Dixon as soon as he can. So we get seriously close on the exit of the chicane pin, but Hearn holds that position quite nicely, and you'd have to say that Hearn's Porsche is still looking a lot tidier than Dendy's. Yeah,
you would. Dendy's certainly had an eventful race so far, as we have Hearn committing to that inside line very early on. Now, is he wise to the tricks of Dendy? That pit wall is going to run out. And then he's staying to the outside, very close.
He's going to watch for the switchback. Very nicely set up. But this is going to be tricky to get done. Up here it starts to tighten up and gets very narrow through here. He gets it done though. That's a really nicely set up move from Will Dendy. And a lovely position grab. So Hearn shuffled back one. And Dendy up into 6th once again then, trying to make that recovery. Stephen Bain coming under some pressure from Yotam Chiron now, so let's see whether the girders are helping. Yeah, I think you might be right about Zandvoort. It's not really a drive-through circuit. I mean, you know, watch Bain go and prove us wrong, but it tends to be one of those circuits that if you run wide or exceed track limits, then you're just going into the gravel anyway. So yeah, it's, oh no, as Yotam Chiron into the back of Stephen Bain, sends him round, and position is swapped again. Bain shuffled back a few places there. Really unfortunate stuff, Hydra.
Heartbreak right at the end. Yeah, I mean, the chicane pin, maybe if you take too much out of that, is one where you could pick up the odd warning here and there. Oh my god, Adam, we're only 10 minutes into this race. I was fully expecting you to have flicked over to Seville just because we're on the last throws of the race, but no, we've got 15 minutes left of this to go. Oh, my heart. I can't take it. Yeah, I mean, very unfortunate for Bain, I'm sure, but even then, 7th back, I mean, I believe that's where he qualified, as we have BP making a move on him. The AM moving up into P7. Although that was short-lived.
Yeah, I mean, it was momentary, but yeah, it was a very nice move. But Bain then just went, no, I'm going this way.
Yes, speaking of the AMs, sorry there, Adam. Speaking of the AMs, we have a different podium this time around, as we have Willie Black and the other Ginettas as far back as 21st. So something must have happened his race as well. We have BP, Reuters, and Sherlock taking P1, 2, 3 in the AM class respectively. So curious to see the recovery drives of some of these lads as we get towards the last half of this race.
Yeah, meanwhile, Johnny Ashley has made some solid progress back up through the field. I think he was down to 26th at one point. Yes, he was. He was down all the way in 26th. He's got himself back up into 18th and is catching Petr Jelinek as well. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Yeah, doing well.
Yeah, and the KTM of, is it Wagner? Doing very well up into P19, which I think for anyone who would consider driving a KTM, that is a fantastic spot to have found himself in.
It is, yeah. Anything apart from last is a really good result in a KTM, to be honest. But Ryan Davies under a lot of pressure here from Yuval Sharon, who's on that recovery drive after the earlier issue. Do you know what? It's been so long since the issue, I can barely remember what the issue was. I think... No, I don't remember. And you see Fairweather in the background going side by side with Mazan as well. Just behind Mazan, we're getting asked to just have a check-in on Richards. We'll do that in just a moment. So here we see Yuval Sharon to the inside of Ryan Davies as they head down towards turn 1. This looks like a slam dunk move done. Davies doesn't fight it too hard, and Yuval makes the position up. And you see Fairweather doing a similar job on Mazan, and there is Anthony Richards. So let's watch the action on board with the pink AMG. As we've got Mazan directly in front of us now in the black Alpine, but we've also got Daniele Guiducci directly behind in another AMG as well. So we've got the 3 AMGs in 15th, 16th and 18th. Not their second race, this one.
Yeah, it was funny. Like you were talking away there, and I was just so engrossed with the with the battle there that I almost forgot that I was still on comms. But yeah, no, it's just incredible as we have Richards just kind of like laying in kind of in waiting there just to try and kind of capitalize on any of the battles ahead. But like they were sitting, like Jeff Lane saying in chat, like doing very well considering where he'd started. As we have the battles just continuing.
Oh no, he didn't. Oh yes, he did. I'm sorry, but that's a disgusting move. We'll watch that back in a minute because Sharon's having a look back, but that is a disgustingly lovely move by Will Dendy down into the chicane pin. He goes around the outside of the first part, which then becomes the inside. Sharon gives him plenty of space to do it, but watch this one, Hydra. This is lovely.
Oh, that's very tidy. Yeah, and I would say, like, you know, Will Dendy showing some fantastic racecraft after all the bumps and stuff. That move from the outside of Hearn earlier in the race was very clever. Like, you know, he'd seen that Hearn was committing to that inside line, and knowing that he'd given himself a very kind of shallow entrance, we'll say, into turn 1, meant that Dendy could just really tee him up to go around the outside and then get the switchback going into the next turn 2 and turn 3 hairpin.
Yeah, I don't even know where to look in this pack right now, so I've kind of gone in the middle of it. So Fairweather's just got past Davies. Davies is now under pressure from Richards. You then got Guiducci not very far behind, and then Mazan, Jelinek, and oh no, in fact Jelinek's got ahead of Mazan now. Yes, there we go, 16th and 17th, those two. And Johnny Ashley starting to clamber his way back onto the back of this pack, if that made any sense. Clamber his way back onto the back of this pack, yeah, something like that anyway.
There's a potential move down the inside that looks good. He's going to have the earlier exit. Oh, and that was very nice.
Yeah, as you see Petr Jelinek up the inside, just a little bit further back there on Daniele Guiducci. So this is now going to go side by side down into the chicane pin, but that McLaren should pull away in the straight line before they get there. But how late will Guiducci be on the brakes? Not any later than Jelinek, so Jelinek gets that move done. But this pack just separating ever so slightly, but look at that marauding Merc in the background. Here comes old Jean Noir.
Yeah, and great to see a train like this still racing away with almost 20 minutes gone into this race. The heat has not abated at all in this race.
No.
As we have Jelinek making another move.
Yeah, so Davies getting shuffled back quite a bit now, because that's Kadichi going through as well. You then got Mazan and Ashley coming up next.
I wonder if that's just a kind of pro-am split kind of coming into play there.
It could be.
Davies just not wanting to get held up. Yeah, it takes a wider line there.
Yeah, although what he's done now is he's put himself right with a fellow am right up his chuff, so to speak, which is Richard Mazan in the... is it Richard Mazan? Yes, it is Richard Mazan in the Alpine there, the black Alpine, as the timing tower finally updates itself with the current order. And let's just run through that order for you. It is Johnny Seville from Craig Matheson, Miles Dixon.
Johnny Ashley,
Johnny Ashley up the inside. Well done.
Fantastic move. Sorry, keep going.
No, he gets it done just nicely, and I think he will probably sail past Ryan Davies in a moment, because Ryan's a sensible lad and he doesn't want to get into a fight with Johnny Ashley, because, well, let's face it, who would really? So here comes Johnny. I suspect a move into the chicane pin. We're going inside or outside?
I think he's gonna hold off for now. Oh, never mind. That's Johnny. Yep.
Old Johnny Send gets it done, but I think Ryan did give him plenty of room to get that done. In fact, they might have even been in voice chat together, and Ryan might have said go to the inside or something like that. But yeah, very, very nicely done there. But now you see Mazan trying to get past Davies as well. I will give you an order rundown in a moment, but there's just battles left, right, and centre. And it's this one that we're looking at right now. Ryan Davies in the Racing Stronger Aston Martin, defending from Richard Mazan. This is for position in the AM class. Mazan can't quite get it done, but Davies now runs deep. You see the tram lines left as he outbraked himself into the gravel, and Mazan gets it done quite nicely in the end. So here is your top 10 then. It's Johnny Seville, Craig Matheson, Miles Dixon, Will Dendy, Yotam Sharon, Daniel Hearn, Stephen Bain, Ben P, Didier Reuters, and Luke Sherlock. Your top 3 in AM are all in the top 10, which is BP, Reuters, and Sherlock. So good job from those 3 being so far up the order.
Yeah, and yeah, geez, that just some great moves there. Unfortunate for Davies, just I think with the pressure to get into turn 1, just kind of got too deep on the brakes. But yeah, absolutely cracking racing all around the track. Just looking at the timing screens, there's a few within like a second or two of each other. For only 5 minutes left to go, and it's been just chock-a-block great racing the whole way through.
Yes, now Willie Black has got a face full of scaffolding at the moment. He's directly behind the rather unattractive rear end of the KTM, and we'll be looking for a move into the chicane pin. Lovely battling between these two. Willie decides not to go for it at that exact moment in time. I did miss saying hello to Lega as well. Hello Lega in chat. But Willie Black will be looking to get past the scaffolding. I'm in KTM any time now.
Yeah, and as we see, the KTM not getting the best of exits there, so perhaps there is a move on for the sweaty Ginetti of Willie Black. Looks like he pulls out from the slipstream and is going for a move up the inside. It looks like it's fairly done and dusted long before we get to turn 1, but the KTM breaks a little bit later. And we have perhaps yours and the other Ginetta potentially having a move, but perhaps there'll be more for that in the next 2 or 3 laps. That KTM just going back slightly on the grid, but still holding on to that position very well.
Indeed. We catch up now with Didier Reuters, who is 9th overall, 2nd in class. Now he's got Yuval Sharon directly behind him. Now they're in a different class, but the question is, would you just open up the door and let Mr. Sharon go, when what that does is it maybe brings Sherlock a bit closer to you, or are you going to defend the overall position? We're about to find out the answer.
Yeah, I would have erred on the side of just letting him through, especially because you don't want to be battling him, because as soon as you do start battling turn after turn, that's just gonna draw Sherlock right into it. you could argue Sherlock was kind of after getting a few seconds up the pack there, but I think it was he didn't want to was it cut his nose to spite his face kind of thing, so just took the hit there, let Sharon pass, and now can focus on battling Sherlock as opposed to battling Sharon and Sherlock.
Indeed. Well, let's stay with this one. This is a battle for second in class. Reuters versus Sherlock. So they are pushing hard to stay second or to gain second in class, but a great race from the pair of them to be up in the top 10-11 overall. We've got just under 3 minutes of this race left.
So and I would like to keep on this, but I will point out that Will Dendy and Miles Dixon are in a battle for P3. And boy, oh boy, I mean, look at the podium as it stands. We've got Alpine, Porsche, Alpine, which is, from what you could say from the end of the last race, not at all what you would have thought. But this is quite the change from that. I think we're going to have another attempt or two before the end of this race. So I don't think we've seen the end of the friendly rivalry that has kind of been stowing for the last race and change.
Well, let's just hope it does stay friendly. There's been a lot of bumping and bruising in this race. 2 minutes left, so we'll probably get we should get 2 laps in, so this will be the penultimate lap now. Dendy getting ever closer to Dixon, and you can just feel that determination on board with Will Dendy to get closer and closer to Dixon and try and find a way past. But let's hope it's done nice and cleanly and without any bumping and bruising this time, because Sharon is not a long way behind and would gladly try and steal one of those positions, or both of them if there were some sort of incident.
Yeah, I think, like my assumption, as ill-founded as it may be, would be that there would be some form of contact.
And there it is. Yeah, so Will Dendy up the inside. Again, we'll let the stewards make judgments on that, but Miles Dixon has come off worse. But let's have a quick replay of it so you can all have a look from a different angle yourself. We were riding on board with Will Dendy at the time, but let's just have a look at it. But obviously, we don't encourage any chat about incidents in the Twitch chat or anything like that. We've got a panel of stewards who can deal with all of that kind of stuff. But frustrating for Dixon, and Dendy makes himself up another place in the order in recovery. So your order is now Seville, Matheson, Dendy, Sharon, Hearn, Bain, Dixon, Ben P, Yuval Sharon and D.A. Reuters in 10th.
Yeah, so certainly no shortage of dramatic racing as we kind of come into the final stages. I think Seville just about to take us through onto the last lap. As we have a battle now with Dixon and Bain. Bain finding himself up the order again. He'd like to hold on to P6. I believe he qualified P7. So a net gain would be fantastic for him. Although he has made it almost 50 minutes between both races and 0 drive-throughs. So
all the time, yeah.
Victories.
Stand by.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Miles Dixon, probably full of anger. He's right up behind Stephen Bain, and will be looking to at least recover one position from that. Now, Dendy has got Yotam Sharon directly behind him, and I mean directly behind him. So here's a potential plot twist that we weren't expecting. Johnny Seville is getting towards the end of the lap, by the way, so we will keep an eye on that. But look at Yotam Sharon all over the back of Will Dendy, but I think it's just run a bit too deep there to do anything about Will Dendy before the end of the lap. But unless Dendy's carrying some damage now.
I mean, I'm sure there's a few corners left to absolutely full send. Although, you'd have to wonder, maybe Sharon kind of feels like he's run a cleaner race. Maybe he's kind of maybe operating under the assumption that perhaps there might be some justice post-race in terms of kind of things going on. But having said that, absolutely running it to the end there, and yeah, race 2 coming to a close.
This is a race to the line, but I think the Ginetta's going to hold on. Wow, Ginetta in a straight line, holding on. Check that one out. But yeah, so Seville did finish and took the win. Matheson second, Dendy in third. Then you got Yotam Sharon was fourth, Daniel Hearn fifth. Stephen Bain held on to sixth just from Miles Dixon. Ben P then takes the second win of the night in the AM class. Yuval Sharon was ninth. Then it was Reuters, Sherlock, Richards, Fairweather, Kadichi, Mazan, Ashley. So Johnny made it up to 16th in the end. That's a really good run from Johnny in recovery. And then you got Davies, Black, Ewers, Wagner, Van der Veen, Lizevsky, Jelinek, Savchuk, Holmes, Law, and Jackson.
Yeah, the heat was turned up to 11 tonight, both on and off track. It's funny, I suppose, like, you know, should you be watching this VOD, you know, months, weeks, years after the fact, you'll kind of wonder, it's like, oh, what were they on about? It's like, oh, this was the day that the UK kind of, like, you know, reached a boiling point. And I would say maybe some of the actions on track kind of similarly reaching a kind of boiling point. But I think at the end of the day, these drivers, you know, will cool off, so to speak, and, you know, with a clear head. You know, it's all, at the end of the day, they're always here to race and have a good time, so I don't think there'll be any ill will. And if, you know, if there's any actions that need to be taken from the admin panels or the stewards, they'll do that in good time. So yeah, so I think what we've had tonight, Adam, if I can speak for the two of us, is a night of absolutely bonkers racing.
Haven't we just? Yeah, I mean, right from the off in race 1, it was madness, and that sort of carried on all the way through the night. There were scores trying to be settled left, right, and centre in race 1 and race 2. There was just track action all the way up and down the field. There were some fantastic performances. I mean, we haven't even mentioned the fact that Craig Matheson managed to hold on to second in race 2. So double podium for Matheson tonight. Really, really strong performance from him. And yeah, all kinds of fun and games up and down the field. What's been your highlight of the night?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of alluded to it there, like Matheson's ability to just capitalize on the tense racing from others and just, like, you know, really hold on to that, like that P2. I mean, he had a fantastic race 1 as well, like, I mean, but yeah, P2 definitely, considering where he qualified, was fantastic. I also just wanted to point out that I did predict, I think we both did, Seville to win that second race. Mm-hmm. So I think that was another, like, fantastic performance. Wouldn't want to shy away from calling that out. Yeah, that was, like, it's I do have this sense of, like, it's not dread, but, like, there is just that sense of, like, that was a serious, like, 50 minutes of racing that we just witnessed. As we see it on the highlights. Just a lot of, like, and there wasn't even that much, like, bad contact. There wasn't like anyone got T-boned or, like, absolutely rear-ended. There was just a lot of little bumps and you know, lots of we'll say lots of hard racing, which is both equal parts great to see and also kind of, like, you know, my heart was in my mouth for, like, a lot of that as we kind of witnessed it live.
Yeah, mine too. It was difficult to kind of keep up with everything that was going on, but we had a mixture of fantastic racing and very, very dramatic moments as well that will shake out in the season as it comes. I think we've got one race left, which is next week, because this was round 5, so we must have one more left to go this time next week. So, Hydra, I hope I will have the pleasure of your company once again next week.
I do believe you should.
Oh, very good. Laguna Seca. It's Laguna Seca next week. Oh my good lord. If we thought this one was dramatic, then get yourself strapped in for Tuesday night next week. But that's not it for the oNiD action this week. Tomorrow night there is some Assetto Corsa action over on the Jimmy Broadbent powered by oNiD side of things. So if you fancy joining in with the fun and games over there, then go take a look on SGP and find your way into those events. Not streamed. Wednesday night is our streaming night off. Thursday night, dun dun dun, it's back with the final round of the rookies, which is at Spa, and I'm really hoping that my quick in a straight line Lexus might go quite well at Spa. Did you hear about my result last week, by the way, Hydra?
Was that Silverstone?
Yeah, Silverstone, yeah.
Yeah, I think I was watching that. That was
just a podium overall and a winning class. I'm down with that.
That was in the rain, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Lexus is the Bexus.
Yes. So we head to Spa on Thursday night. So full comms action, which I think is being hosted by good old Johnny Ashley on Thursday night. So I don't know who the co-coms is for that one, but that one should be exciting. Thursday night. Friday night, I think we've got a night off again. Yes, we had the 2.4 last week. Same with Saturday night, and then Sunday night it's evaluation race number 2. So not as much on the streams this week, because we're in evaluation race territory and things like that. But that mega race at Spa on Thursday night, don't miss it. Hydro, what about you and the Xbox boys? You got much coming up?
We've got 2 races at Barcelona tomorrow night. So I think one of them has the potential to be rain, so that'll be fun. I don't think the Xbox boys would have had a rainy race before, so that should be a lot of fun. Extreme Beef still holding out strong, helping out with the Xbox side of things. He hasn't fully converted to PC just yet, so we'll take what we can from him for a little bit longer at least, while the flavor, while the joys of PC haven't set in too deep. But yeah, no, I think the Xbox, I think that league is kind of nearing its end. So I think we've only maybe 2 rounds left, if I'm not mistaken. So I think similarly there will be another reset there for more folks to hop in case you are of the Xbox persuasion.
Very good. Very good. Well, I think that's probably a good time for us to wrap it up, because I don't know about you, but I want to get away from my hot, sweaty PC and back into the hot, sweaty house. Although, to be honest, I think I'm going to go via the paddling pool on the way back into the house.
Yeah, Adam, I don't know how you've managed to commentate for the last hour and change there, because I'm I feel like after watching that race, the two of them and we're not as warm as you over there, but I am sweating after that. That was that was just intense all around. So yeah, I think you've earned a well-deserved trip to the paddling pool.
where if you climb in and close your eyes, you can actually think you are on holiday for a moment, until you hear there's a donkey round the corner here. So you think you're on holiday until all of a sudden in the distance you hear then you remember, no, I'm just at home in the garden.
Matt Holman in the chat saying #Free Willy.
No, thank you. Right, good night everyone. Thank you so much for watching. It has been an absolute pleasure, and Hydra, thanks for your company once again. Look forward to it again next week.
Yeah, can't wait to see you everyone on track at Laguna Seca next week. Take it easy in the meantime.
Indeed. Right, have a good one, and we'll see you then. Cheers.